Ever wonder why iPhones and Androids feel so similar? Yet, if you look at a spec sheet, it seems like the iPhone is generations behind. Phones have gone from clunky bricks to sleek, focus group tested slabs of glass.
It was perfect. Perfect.
And while Android is racing to drop the latest tech, Apple is not in such a rush. So why is that? Well, Apple always puts their own little spin on things. Like at this year's iPhone 17 event, they unveiled a new feature that proves their secret sauce is worth the wait.
That's what she said!
I'm going to be breaking down why Apple's slow and steady approach makes their phone stand out, with a few tricks Android can't quite match.
And we think you're gonna love it.
This is Stuff TLDR. I explain how things work for people with short attention spans. Reading takes too long, so watch this video instead. And today, we're talking about iPhones. The truth is, we don't really know why Apple takes so long to add features to its iPhone lineups. Honestly, I'd argue their other products feel pretty cutting edge, aside from the old garbage can Mac Mini and pretty much all their keyboard and mice. I had the misfortune of using one of their magic mice the other day, and the only thing magic about it was how it magically made me want to take my The way I see it, there are four possible explanations depending on who you are. There's the cynical view, the business case, what I'll call the cringe Redditor take, and then the evangelist decry. Alright, the cynical view. This is people like me who feel like the world is always out to screw them. And with my iPhone 11 running slower and slower every day leading up to the iPhone 17 launch, I might be moving to this camp soon. The thought here is that holding out features is more profitable for Apple. This is akin to the conspiracy theory that pharmaceutical companies have been able to cure cancer for years, and they won't do it because the treatments are more profitable than the cure.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
If the iPhone 17 had some crazy new feature that no other phone had, I'd argue that maybe this case holds some water. But since it doesn't, I'm gonna rule this one out. In my experience, corporations tend to be pretty short-sighted when it comes to making money. If they could sell more iPhones, they would. Next is the business case. These are the guys who party their way through business school, they glaze each other on LinkedIn all day, and yet somehow got put in charge of everything. This is the concept of the second mover advantage. Whereas the first mover advantage lets you get your product out into the market with no competition, the second mover advantage lets you sit back and watch your competitors crash and burn as they spend tons of money on research and development trying to figure out what works. Think of the second, third, and so on mover advantages like that glass bridge sequence from Squid Game. And we all know how that first guy did. Next is the cringe Redditor take, which is that Apple is simply incompetent. These are your terminally online neckbeards who just have to comment on any iPhone post. Well, my Changhong H2 has had that for years. Through the power of karma farming and never going outside, these people have deluded themselves into believing that one of the most valuable companies on earth simply isn't capable of making a better phone than the Chinese. Apple is sitting on $60 billion worth of cash right now, and they pay their engineers so well that these guys change their entire personalities to be completely about how much money they make. Lastly, the evangelists are similar to the Redditors in that they think that Apple's just incompetent, but they believe it for a different reason. These people think it's because Steve Jobs is dead, and that he was the only person on earth capable of selling overpriced storage upgrades as a pro feature.
And we think you're gonna love it.
We're gonna be focusing on the business case. And if any of you have any other theories that I haven't mentioned, I'd love to hear them, so leave a comment down below. Now, there was a point where Apple was unquestionably the leader in smartphone technology. It was in 2007 when the iPhone first launched. The revolutionary new feature that put them miles ahead of the competition? The touchscreen. Well, multi-touchscreen. I just did the math, and there are legal adults who were born when the iPhone first came out. So this may come as a surprise to some of you that a touchscreen was such groundbreaking stuff. Believe me, it was. All the gestures you're used to, like pinch to zoom, wouldn't have been possible without this multi-touch breakthrough. Even basic things like scrolling through a list shocked audiences at the event. Prior to the iPhone, all smartphones were designed like miniature PCs. They had crappy little keyboards and you needed a stylus to click on anything on screen.
So what are we gonna do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're gonna use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus?
I actually remember at the time people would argue that they liked the physical keyboards more. Boomer moment. But that was then, and this is now. And lately, every iPhone release feels boring.
We're raising the bar once again with an all-new iPhone lineup that's unlike anything we've ever created.
More durable design, more readable. Ceramic Shield 2. Anti-reflective coating, faster and more efficient. On-device generative and large language models will run even faster. And that completes the fantastic iPhone 17.
iPhone 17 is incredible.
But if you're a tech nerd like me, there's still a lot to get excited about. In fact, there was one new feature just announced that didn't get much attention that I think a lot of people are gonna love. Alright, so here are 5 features that are just better on iPhone. What's the first thing you see when you pick up your phone? The display. We've got 120Hz versus ProMotion. Higher refresh rates make everything, swiping, scrolling, zooming, feel super smooth. Android phones have had 90Hz or 120Hz screens for years now. But ProMotion, despite the cringe Pro name that Apple gives everything, is kind of special. The screen isn't just fixed at 120Hz.
No way!
It's adaptive, shifting from 120Hz all the way down to 1Hz depending on what's on screen. Why 1Hz? When you're reading an article or checking your lock screen, it doesn't have to refresh like crazy. And this makes the always-on display possible without destroying your battery. Because refreshing less often means less power. Less power means a longer battery. Longer battery means more screen maxing. And more screen maxing means more happiness. Continuity is actually like a basket of features. They just use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but they let you do cool things like copy on one device and then paste on another. And you never need to remember Wi-Fi passwords because your friends can just automatically share it. There are others that are less known, like Sidecar, which I love. It lets you use your iPad as a second display for your Mac seamlessly, wired or wireless. Pretty cool, right? You'd think Apple would, advertise this really useful feature they spent time and money making? Well, you'd think wrong. I could not find a single video of this feature on Apple's own support page, so you're getting Subway Surfers B-roll instead. There's also continuity camera, which lets you use your iPhone as a webcam, but like, who just has a tripod laying around? And while it's a cool feature, I have frankly never cared what other people look like over a video call. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing less of them most of the time. Hey guys, real quick. If you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. It really helps out small channels like me.
Bruh.
And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell.
Let me get one more.
Alright, thanks. Back to the video. They started out as the answer to a problem Apple created. But nowadays, people forget the crime Apple committed to bring AirPods to market in the first place.
Wireless.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
But honestly, they're pretty great. Like every device in Apple's lineup in 2025, they're powered by Apple Silicon, a series of processors designed in-house at Apple. In AirPods, the H2 chip powers the noise cancellation, the transparency mode, and that weird spatial audio head tracking mode that I always turn off. But the H2 chip also lets you connect seamlessly with all of your other Apple products. Unless of course you're me, and you get the one pair that's bugged out. Thanks, Apple. This chip handles the Bluetooth handshaking for you, so you don't have to go through the tedious Bluetooth pairing process like you do with most other devices.
You son of a bitch.
Android flagships pack 16 gigabytes of RAM, while iPhones stick with just half of that. Yet iPhones keep up with updates, they take great photos, they handle everything just fine. So how is that? It's all about automatic reference counting in iOS.
What?
Think about this like checking in and out of a hotel. When you check out, the room still exists, but your access is revoked and it's ready for someone else to use. Android, on the other hand, uses what's called garbage collection.
I'm in a waste management business. Everybody immediately assumes you're mobbed up.
This would be like if the hotel had no idea who had already checked out, and they just send someone around every so often checking to see which rooms are empty. It's slower, so Androids need more RAM to keep things moving smoothly. Apple's just more efficient. Lastly, I'm going to be talking about cameras. Not the main cameras that everyone always pixel peeps when comparing phones. I'm talking about the selfie camera. The new iPhone 17 lineup has a pretty cool feature built into it. It's existed on Macs and iPads for a few years now, but Apple took their time rolling it out to the phones. That feature is called Center Stage, and it's enabled by the new 18 megapixel front-facing camera. While competitors like the Google Pixel are flexing a 48 megapixel front-facing camera sensor, who really cares? No one cares about the numbers on a spec sheet. Not consumers, not engineers. People care about what the numbers enable you to do that other cheaper hardware doesn't. And that is what Apple has considered here. For those who aren't aware, 1 megapixel is 1 million pixels. For reference, a standard 4K television has around 8 million pixels. When a camera's resolution is higher than the display the image is going to be shown on, we can zoom and crop without losing sharpness. Kinda like what I'm doing here. Except the iPhone's going to be doing with AI. Wait, where are you going? Alright, that about wraps it up, guys. Are there any features I missed? There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, but this video is getting too long already, so I'm making that into a separate video. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.